back for our Wednesday night finale at the City League, as our final game should be a good one. BBM Tax Service, coming off their first win of the summer, takes on the undefeated Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Zion Brown and Zach Browning here with you. And Zach, these are two of the most talented teams on the men's side.
You're exactly right. There is no shortage of talent, especially in the backcourt tonight. I mean, the list goes on. You've got Darius Adams, Marquise Teague, John Hart on one side for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. You've got Aaron Harris and Tony Perkins for BBM Tax Service. Plenty of talent on both ends of the floor in this one.
And this BBM Tax Service team, I mentioned coming off their first win, they are better than they have shown, but last week finally getting a 20-point win over Prudential, the defending champs. And granted, that Prudential team didn't have their full arsenal, but just to dominate a team that was on a 9-game winning streak showed what this BBM Tax Service team can do, as we've already got some extracurriculars before tip-off, it seems. Jaden Ford of BBM Tax Service and Tyrone Walker of Mambo's going back and forth, but now Brandon Muncie of BBM Tax Service and Deshaun Hampton look to tip it away, and Hampton wins it for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Here is John Hart penetrating. He can't hit. And Ford rebounds it for BBM. Ford sidesteps through the lane and gets the friendly roll. Aaron Harris, that is, with the friendly roll. Now coming down the other end, it's Darius Adams with the soft touch. The scoop and score. As here is BBM Tax Service with Shamar Avance. Ball is loose, and Jaden Ford has it for BBM. Back out, Harris. Short on the shot attempt. John Hart came away with it, and he got shoved out of bounds. It'll be a foul call.
Zion, I know we've just started, but somehow on the scoreboard that we have here, how I operate the scoreboard that you guys see on the broadcast, instead of pluses, it's minuses. I cannot, so I have to manually add the score. I can't just click +1, +2, or +3.
It's a slam from Deshaun Hampton. Perkins brings it ahead for BBM Tax Service. He takes one just a foot inside the volleyball line, too strong. And Walker with the board for BBM. Here's Adams being bombarded, but he's able to feed Hampton for another throwdown.
Something's got to give in this game, because this BBM Tax Service team, they play hard. They play aggressive defense. There's not really a team in the City League that plays with as much defensive intensity as BBM Tax Service. But this is a Mambo's team with the playmakers and ball handlers they have. If they get around you, if they are able to hold on to that possession, they're going to make you pay.
Ford off target on the shot, and Hart will take the transition three. No good. Here's Harris with the runner. It rolls off, and Adams comes away with it for BBM Tax Service. Into the corner, they swing it around, and Marcus Teague thought about the shot. Now it'll go over to Adams. Adams will take from deep. Off back iron and into the hands of Tony Perkins. Perkins with the left. Put too much on it, but a foul is called on Hampton.
And I talked about the guards, and it's such an interesting matchup of guards and a certain special mismatch of guards, because Darius Adams isn't as big as a guy like Tony Perkins is, because you've got different sets of guards. Tony Perkins, probably the biggest guard we have out here on the floor as far as brute strength and ability to get downhill, and just there's not really anybody that can stop him when he gets downhill. Aaron Harris is longer, a little bit more agile, more of a wing than a stereotypical guard. Darius Adams, he's well built, but probably not as strong as Tony Perkins, but he's got a great three-point shot. Marquise Teague, John Hart, other two guards that are very well built. It's going to be a strong and physical matchup in this one, and I'm looking forward to it.
Offensive foul called on Adams that time. And it's a 2-point game still. Here's Perkins with it. Over to Avance, short on the shot attempt, and into the hands of Hampton. Here's Marcus Teague. Teague looking for some space on the perimeter. Too strong again, but it comes back out. Now Adams will try the deep ball. He can't hit either. And Harris with a strong board up to Avance. Avance gallops in transition. Perkins couldn't flush it back home, but it still ends up in a good look for Harris, who rattles it through.
Zion, we're in for a good one tonight. You can just tell the intensity in the gym right now, the intensity on the court. This is going to be a good one.
Foul on the floor. Called against Avance. But you're right, these guys are getting up and down. They're playing physically as well. And that ball looked like it was off Teague, but it will stay with Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
And this is where Mambo's has the advantage because they can attack you from so many different ways. You stick your best defender on Darius Adams, well, how about Marquise Teague, who's an NBA guy, a former NBA guy.
Hampton back to Teague, up top Hart. Hart on the drive, feathery touch.
Well, I just mentioned Adams and Teague. How about John Hart? He's already gone for 30-plus this summer.
Harris on the drive. Got hit by John Hart. Hart arguing that Harris walked it. I don't think he did. Nevertheless, it will stay with BBM Tax Service.
And again, this has the makings of potentially the most physical game we've seen this summer.
Here's Harris again, being bodied up by Hart. Harris falls to the floor, and we'll have a jump ball between those two. So that has been a physical matchup already. John Hart versus Aaron Harris.
Harris probably has the speed advantage over Hart, but Hart as physical of a guard/wing as we have in the City League.
Harris won the tip momentarily, but I think it'll be a foul on Avance, kind of holding down the shoulder of Darius Adams. That's the right call.
No, Zion, this summer Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill has performances of 101 points, 79 points, and 88 points.
Yeah.
Based on the defensive intensity and the physicality in this one, not sure they're going to be setting any season highs offensively here. They have 8 points in the first 6.5 plus of this game.
Teague against Avance, drills it right in the face of Shamar Avance, and then a steal and a put in. Nice job by John Hart. So quick 5-0 run. And a foul called on Marcus Teague. It's a 6-point, 13-7 lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Perkins has it. Now swings it over to Brandon Muncie. Muncie will try straight into the game for the three. Left it flat. And now Teague brings it ahead for Mambo's. Over to Hart.
Zion got a ruling that last three from Marquise Teague was a 2.
And so it was indeed a 2. So a 12-7 game. Now 14-7 it is after the bucket. As they are ambushing Tony Perkins in the corner. And somehow it turns into a bucket for Cortland Hayes.
Tony Perkins, not somebody I'd try to rile up in this game. Last time we saw him, Zion, here at the City League, he had 42.
Adams hopping through the lane, and he'll head to the free throw line. So Darius Adams will shoot 2 to try to extend this 5-point lead.
I'm going to take the moment, Zion. Look at the scenic view we have out there. It's pouring outside.
Yeah, that is how this week has gone throughout central Indiana. Been a lot of rain, as it felt like throughout June and at least the first week, I would say, of July. It was very dry. First free throw good for Adams. As, you mentioned it, the low-scoring output we've seen so far. Not often you'll see these two teams almost halfway through the first half with this few points, especially this BBM Tax Service team still stuck on 9 points as Perkins drives inside, and he'll look to add to that scoring total.
Zion, we might see 50 free throws in this game, and Tony Perkins might take 20 of them himself. He's one of those guys where he doesn't need much to kind of get it going and kind of get in that mindset, that competitive mindset. And that last time down the floor offensively for BBM Tax Service when he got trapped in the corner, was sent down to the floor. It ended up being 2 points for BBM Tax Service. But you could tell he got up, was not frustrated with the officials or anything like that, just kind of accepting the physicality and the physical nature of the start of this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Perkins steps up his level of physicality as we move forward.
Here's Marcus Teague, lost the handle, and Evans comes away with it. Here's Cortland Hayes with the ball. Now he gives it over to Harris. Harris will take from the volleyball line. No good, but tracked back down by Brandon Muncie. Kind of rushed that shot. And Evan Loudon gets the board for Mambos. Here is Darius Adams. Sidestep tray. Doesn't hit. Looked like Mambos had 3 players get a hand on it, but then Aaron Harris comes away with it, and he's fouled in the backcourt.
And if there is somebody on this BBM Tax Service team that has the ability somewhat to try and limit Darius Adams, it is probably Aaron Harris. Just with his length, he's just as quick as Aaron Harris is just as quick as Darius Adams. Well, maybe not as quick, but close enough, and he's got the length and reach and athleticism to be able to contest that shot.
Perkins brings it across. And now he maneuvers his way into the corner. Perkins against Teague, has it stuffed by Teague into the hands of Wu Evans. And then Perkins fumbled the pass. Here's Loudon. Loudon going straight through the chest of the defender. That'll be an offensive foul. So the physicality continues in this first half. And it's a 16-11 game with 9:03 left to play in the first half. Mambo Cheesesteak Grill with the 5-point lead. We'll be back in just a moment here on TCL Live. After the timeout, BBM Tax Service has the basketball with Harris leading the offense. This BBM team trails by 5. Harris swinging it and banking home the 3 is Cortland Hayes. Just like that, it's a one-possession game right until the bucket for Adrian Gibson.
In Zion, in a game like this with so much star power on the floor, you're going to need guys like Hayes and like Gibson to get it going.
And now Perkins is called for the offensive foul, as he gave a forearm to Quinto Weston, who went flying.
Slightly uncharacteristic start for Tony Perkins.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the physicality has bothered him, but he hasn't been his usual assertive, I'm going to take it right at you kind of self so far in this first half. He's been uncharacteristic, has turned it over a couple of times. Typically, we see him love the physicality.
And I think a foul off the ball on Perkins. Is it a technical or just a – it is indeed a technical foul on Tony Perkins, who was not pleased with that offensive foul call.
I think he probably had that one coming. As I was saying, it hasn't been complete 100% frustration, but there's a hint of frustration in there for Tony Perkins with how the game has gone so far for him.
So Adams nails the free throw. And now he'll be the man charged with leading the offense for Mambos. They lead by 5. Adams rejects the screen. Adams with the left hand draws another foul. So that foul called on Ford, and Darius Adams will shoot 2 more free throws on this possession. First free throw drops for Darius Adams. In a game where it feels like most players have really struggled to get their shot off, Adams looks pretty comfortable out there, I'd say, Zach.
That's what professional basketball will do for you. He's used to playing in physical games like this.
Harris driving, finding Shamar Avance. He'll take the 18-footer, and Avance got hit on the way up, so he'll head to the line.
It's where you can see in games like this where the physicality is just on another level from what we've really seen throughout much of the season. You see the players with the higher level experience on the basketball court. You see those guys typically excel. So the likes of Darius Adams, who's played professionally, and Marcus Teague, who's played professionally, Aaron Harris, who played at the Big Ten level, Tony Perkins, who played at the Big Ten and SEC level, John Hart played at the Big Ten level with Purdue. So you see those types of guys. They've been in these physical battles before. Those are the guys you look for to step up and really handle the physicality in a game like this.
Going straight to the rim is Gibson, but he can't hit. And Avance on the other end. Avance through traffic. Finishes at the rim right over Evan Loudon. Here's Darius Adams, gets trapped, almost lost it. Ball is still loose. Loudon has it for Mambo's. Ball is still up for grabs, and here's Jaden Ford. Ford up ahead, got undercut, and still hit the layup. And now this BBM team starting to feel it.
Zion, I feel like we're in the Elam ending right now, but there's still 5 minutes to go in the first half. That's how physical, aggressive, and intense this first half has been. We just had 3 or 4 guys dive for the loose ball on the other end of the floor. This has been fantastic to start.
And right after we had talked about how comfortable and at ease Darius Adams had seemed, he gets double teamed, and after about 8 seconds of wrestling for the ball on the floor, it turns into a turnover and a bucket on the other end for Ford and BBM Tax Service.
I think the mop that's being broken out on the other end of the floor right now, I think that's probably going to be used frequently tonight with how many bodies we've seen hit the floor.
Absolutely. And good to kind of call that out at the time so it doesn't end up causing some slippage on this ensuing possession for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
And again, I did touch on it earlier. As much as you rely on those players with the, whether it's Big Ten, SEC, professional basketball experience, as much as you rely on them in a game like this, you need those other players to step up. You need the likes of a Jaden Ford or a Shamar Avance for BBM Tax Service. You need an Adrian Gibson or an Evan Loudon for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill in order to win these types of games.
So it's down to a 1-point game. A little over 4.5 to go in the first half. Here's Adams taking the 13-footer. Left it short, and here comes Harris. Harris looking to take the lead for BBM Tax Service into the corner where Muncie has it. Now in the mid-range, it's Perkins. He'll fire off the mark. And Mambo's takes away with Adams. Up ahead, Tyrone Walker wide open. Can't hit. But a foul is called on Shamar Avance, fighting for rebounding position with Deshaun Hampton.
I'm not sure about that one, Zion. You can kind of see Hampton has a little bit of a wry smile on his face. There might have been some embellishment on that play. I'm not sure Shamar Avance has the capability to move Hampton like Hampton just got moved right there.
I think this might be 1-and-1 territory, so a huge swing where it looked like BBM was going to have it, heading the other way with a chance to take the lead again. And now it turns into foul shots for Hampton.
Zion, I'm somewhat surprised we didn't get into the 1-and-1 situation earlier in this first half, considering how physical and how many fouls and how aggressive these teams are driving and attacking the basket.
Hampton goes 1 or 2. The ball comes right back out to him, and then he got fouled again. So Muncie reached his arm across, I think hit Hampton in the head, and Hampton will shoot another 1-and-1.
And Zion, this game might come down to, and as simple as it sounds, it might come down to which team can play less frustrated.
Discipline is going to be a key factor with all the physicality. It still has to be the right kind. It still has to be smart plays being made and not just bodying up any and everybody you see. So Hampton makes the first and earns himself a second free throw.
Which team can keep the emotions in check? That might be a key to victory in the second half.
2 for 2 this time for Hampton. He scores 3 in total in that possession to extend the Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill lead to 4. Here's Harris in the corner. Now to Jaden Ford, who will take from deep. No, but Muncie follows the shot and puts it back in. Darius Adams going up against Harris, and Adams is called for the charge. So we've seen, I think, about 3 or 4 of those offensive fouls, those push-off calls already in this first half. And this one in favor of BBM Tax Service.
And as a player, you have to realize every game is different as far as the officiating is concerned. So you got to realize you may not be able to get away with as much of that kind of push-off that doesn't get called too much throughout high-level college basketball.
Perkins looked like he just slipped on his own, but I think a foul's going to go against Marcus Teague.
John Hart's having a full-on conversation with somebody in the bleachers down to our left.
As it's a 1-and-1 upcoming for Tony Perkins, as Teague is trying to plead his case to the official. Perkins makes the free throw. And once again, I mean, this is a similar situation to what we saw on the other end with Hampton, where we've seen, obviously, already got a tech. We've seen Tony Perkins argue with the officiating crew. I don't even think he wanted a foul there. It just got called. He makes both to tie the game back up at 24. Here's Teague against Harris. Fires over the top. No good. Now they kick it back out. Loudon's open from deep, and he can't convert. Here comes Perkins. Perkins, that time, is cut off and fouled by Teague. And he will head to the line again. Meanwhile, the clock now at just about 30 seconds. This probably will end the half. It'll be a 1-and-1, so if he makes the first, I should say, this will likely end the half.
One of those situations where Marquise Teague pretty much did all you can. There's not really many situations where Tony Perkins isn't going to score or get fouled when he's got a full head of steam heading to the basket like that.
Perkins makes the first and earns himself a second.
And I'll add, I give props to Marquise Teague there for actually stepping in front of Perkins and deterring him from that straight line drive.
Perkins makes both, and poetically, the second one goes in as the buzzer sounds, and it's a 26-24 lead for BBM Tax Service after a half of play. A very odd and surprising low-scoring half of action, Zach.
Yeah, that was, again, we've got two teams that have been offensive powerhouses throughout much of the season, and that was not that in that first half. That was defense, that was physicality, that was intensity that we haven't really seen at all throughout much of the City League season so far this year.
BBM Tax Service ends the half on a 6-0 run to go ahead by 2. We'll be back for what should be an exciting second half in a few here on TCL Live. Welcome to the second half of the final game of the day here at the City League, where BBM Tax Service holds a 2-point lead over Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Heading in to the second half, BBM has the ball alongside Zach Brown, and I'm Zion Brown. As Tony Perkins has it for this BBM team. Perkins did not hit a field goal in that first half. All 8 of his points came at the foul line. Here's Aaron Harris. Harris will try one from the volleyball line. Too strong, and rebounded by Adams for Mambo's. Teague in transition. Fought through some contact, didn't get the call. And now Shamar Avance has it, going up the other end and baking one home. Adams crossing over, slips near the foul line, and is able to get it away just barely to John Hart. Hart lost the handle, and Ford had it, but he got it taken away by Deshaun Hampton in the corner. Hart for 3, too strong, and Harris gets the board then. Rifles it ahead to Tony Perkins. Perkins lobs it up top for Ford. Wasn't quite ready for that pass, and now here comes Darius Adams and Mambo's. Hart from that same spot converts this time. Not sure Hart moved at all there. Just stayed ready in the corner.
He genuinely might not have. And it looks like we've got a 2-3 zone here defensively for Mambo's. I'm not sure the defense wasn't the problem for them in this first half. It was the offense.
As Harris sinks the 3. That 3 made by Hart was the first 3 of the game for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. And the Harris 3 there, just their 3rd made 3 so far today. Marcus Teague. Teague over to John Hart. Hart drives, nice step through, but can't get the layup to go. Now here comes Aaron Harris. Harris over to Shamar Avance. Nice screen by Ford to free him open. It's a 7-point lead for BBM, their largest today.
And how about the game for Shamar Avance so far? He's up to 8 points, 5 already in the second half.
Darius Adams responds and hits the emote as well, going down the court. Avance trapped in the front court, trying to get free, and that'll be a jump ball between Shamar Avance and Darius Adams. So they'll jump it away right at midcourt as the physicality continues.
I was going to say, they're very off-center there. Shamar Avance is on the other side of half court. He still is not quite on center, but.
Ball being fought for. Mambo's has it. Deep 3 for Adams. Not there. Here's Tony Perkins with the basketball. Perkins sheds a defender. Tries the 3. Too strong. Put back up and in, though, by Jaden Ford.
So far this second half, Zion, has been BBM Tax Service doing the little things.
John Hart gets trapped and is able to find a cutting Deshaun Hampton for the flush. Harris going the other way. They swing it around. Perkins back tapped by Hart, out of bounds. And that's going to be another one of those over and back calls. Harris, the ball was thrown into the backcourt for him to go get. It turns into a turnover.
Those are little mistakes you can't have in a game like this.
And they're going to say that ball on the pass from Quinto Weston hit the midcourt line, which again is an over and back.
Zion, I can't say I had a real good angle on that one.
As it's the same call on the other end, with the ball being inbounded to Harris.
All right, you cannot inbound the ball in the backcourt here, Mambo's. There you go.
Here's Darius Adams downhill, fading. It just misses off front rim, off the bounce. As now Avance takes the foul line, Jay, and drills it.
7 second half points already for Shamar Avance.
And now he's picking up Hart, who takes the three over A-Vance and rattles it through. And Hart had something to say on his way back. A-Vance with two defenders in front of him. Out to Brandon Muncie, or excuse me, that's Cortland Hayes. Now a deep three from Harris. He's online, but just a bit short. But Ford got the offensive board. And as he was kind of stuck in that corner, BBM Tax Service called a timeout. They lead this 1 by 3, but we're starting to see the offense pick up here, Zach.
Yeah, the game has opened up a little bit on both ends of the floor. There's still the aggression, there's still the intensity, but the shots are starting to fall a little bit more, especially from three-point range. You've seen Josh Hart knock down a couple of threes. Shamar A-Vance, what he does for BBM Tax Service is he can actually open up the floor for some driving lanes for the likes of Tony Perkins and Aaron Harris, because right now both Perkins and Harris, they're seeing 2-3 bodies every time they touch the ball, every time they try and drive past that three-point line. They're seeing multiple defenders from Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. If you are Shamar A-Vance and you can kind of develop some more gravity as a shooter and as a scorer as this game goes along, that'll open up things for your teammates. And already, as I mentioned, 7 second-half points for A-Vance.
And we've seen it today. It doesn't necessarily have to be the three-point shooting, which hasn't been great for either team, but with A-Vance, he's gotten in the mid-range and hit a couple of those shots. So we'll see if he can continue that aggression as this BBM team holds the slight three-point edge. Here's Aaron Harris, defended by Weston. Harris with 2 on the shot clock. Muncie has to put it up, and he's short. And Mambo comes away with it. Adams to tie the game off the mark. Harris quickly into the front court, over to A-Vance. A-Vance for 3. Missed everything, straight into the hands of Muncie, who laid it home with the left hand. John Hart crossing over, firing. Misses the shot, but Gibson on the offensive board puts it back through. Harris finds A-Vance up the court. He gets fouled with the reverse lay-in. And a technical foul called on Shamar A-Vance after the basket, however. So A-Vance will still get his and-one free throw, but it will come after a technical foul shot by Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
A-Vance, the reason for that technical foul there, Zion, I believe it was Weston he scored on down low. He let Weston know that he scored on him. He let him know that that was an and-one. He was, let's say, very vocal in letting everybody in the gym know that was an and-one, and he may or may not have been staring right at Weston when he yelled it.
Adams, however, misses the free throw. And so now A-Vance will shoot his and-one free throw on the other end.
And I love brothers sticking up for other brothers. Woo A-Vance on the sideline, screaming out, "Ball don't lie" on that one after Adams missed that free throw. His brother now at the line, Shamar.
So Shamar A-Vance can't hit the free throw. Here comes Darius Adams. Adams will shoot it right over Perkins. Missed everything, and that ball ends up out of bounds.
Can hear John Hart on the floor telling Darius Adams, "Don't settle." Said you're bailing out BBM Tax Service by taking that type of three. I don't disagree with him either.
Here's Perkins. He'll take a three. Left it short. Down the other end, here comes Evan Loudon. Loudon kicks it back out to Hart. Excuse me, Teague, that is. Teague guarded by Muncie. Teague inside the lane. Dumps it off. That is rejected by Brandon Muncie, but an open three made by Loudon off the ricochet. Harris thought about the deep shot. Instead, he gives it over to Hayes, who can't hit. Darius Adams with a chance to tie or take the lead now for Mambos. Adams streaking through the lane, and he knocks us up at 42 apiece.
Still waiting for Tony Perkins to really inject himself in this game. He's shown spurts, but we haven't gotten the full Tony Perkins experience just yet.
But they're letting Avance go to work, and he scores again. Feeding the hot hand. As now Avance on the other end is picking up Teague. Teague moves him out the way. He's going to be called for an offensive foul.
Officials in this one, Zion, really aren't letting any of these offensive players get away with any sort of chicken wing. Got to keep that off arm on the basketball if you're an offensive player in this one.
Perkins going down the lane, and the same call the other way. However, our two officials have separate calls. Hold on. One called a charge. The other, I didn't even see the one on the baseline, called the defensive foul. I think this is going to be free throws for Tony Perkins.
I think the official that will make the call that stands is saying that Perkins' arm might have extended a little bit, but that's because it was grabbed. So Perkins will end up earning 2 free throws here.
I did not realize the simultaneous calls were being made initially. But it turns into free throws for Tony Perkins. However, he misses the first. Perkins goes 1 of 2. Here's John Hart. Hart crossing over, and he got fouled on the way up by Hayes.
You're Hayes in that situation. You just got to show your hands. His hands were kind of down by his side, not all the way extended, not full verticality there from Hayes.
And with that size, you want him to just stay vertical. And if Hart makes the shot right over his outstretched arms, so be it. But that's going to be a difficult shot if you do stay vertical. As Hart has his first free throw rim out. Hart splits the pair. It's still a 2-point game. Neither team creating much separation here in this one. Avance looking to attack. Over to Cortland Hayes. That was off, right off the hands, and Darius Adams pulls away for Mambo. Bounce pass of cutting Loudon. Loudon can't finish, and that was last touched by BBM, as Ford was the last to put a hand on the ball.
Shamar Avance checking out of the game. He's been the leading scorer in this second half for BBM Tax Service. I imagine this won't be too long of a break for him.
We're approaching the 8-minute mark here. It's foul called again on Hayes.
Can kind of see a little bit of a strategy developing here for Mambos, especially if John Hart is going to have that matchup with Hayes on him. Look for maybe Mambos to try and target and attack Hayes defensively. He's got the ability to protect the rim, but when Hayes is drawn away from that rim and has to defend on the perimeter, that's where things can get a little bit dicey.
Hart nails the first free throw, and Hayes will exit the game for Brandon Muncie.
Gives them a little bit more defensive versatility. Can pretty much switch anything if they want to, BBM Tax Service, and not really any mismatches now out there.
Hart hits both, and we're tied at 45. Here comes Harris on the other end. Harris over to Wu Avance. Avance going up for the layup, doesn't hit it. Loudon tips it away into the hands of Teague. Teague against Muncie. Muncie stripped him. Brandon Muncie over to Jaden Ford. Ford had it taken away by John Hart. Teague up ahead. Adams with the lay-in. Two-point lead now for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Here's Ford at the foul line. He hits.
Good flash there by Ford. Up to the free throw line. Made himself available for Perkins.
Darius Adams slips. And Wu Evans comes away with it. Now Brandon Muncie takes off. He misses, but Tony Perkins is right there to clean it up. The timeout is called by Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They trail this one 49-47 with 6:19 to go, and we'll take a quick break here. Don't go anywhere on TCL Live. Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill with the ball out of the break, and Hart can't finish. It's rebounded by Ford. Here comes Wu Evans. Evans has it stripped. Fast break. Hart wasn't looking for the ball, and it ends up in the hands of Harris. But then Hart strips Harris, but a foul's called on John Hart. Two-point lead here for BBM Tax Service.
I think John Hart just subbed himself out of the game. I think he was a little frustrated with that call.
Here's Harris driving. He goes up through contact. The deuce with the foul.
This is the part of the game, Zion. We're about a minute out from our Elam ending. This is the part of the game where your best players, most talented guys on the floor, they've got to step up. Aaron Harris is most certainly in that category for BBM Tax Service.
5-point lead for BBM now. Here's Marcus Teague. Teague feeding to Loudon. Loudon with the left. Harris has it. Knocked out of bounds by Tyrone Walker, who had something to say after the fact. And the officials this time letting everybody know this ball has to be inbounded in the front court. Tony Perkins with it, defended by T. Perkins gets to that elbow line extended. Perkins blocked by Gibson. Teague up ahead to Darius Adams. He's cut off by Wu Evans. Adams still keeps the ball, and Perkins called for the foul.
Back on that other end, Zion. It hasn't happened yet, but you just get the feeling that Tony Perkins is going to have a big play, a big opportunity, some sort of chance to make a big impact down the stretch of this game. He hasn't really been able to make his imprint just yet, but you just feel like it's coming for a player of his caliber.
Hart subs back in for Tyrone Walker.
We'll also see if BBM Tax Service takes the timeout here to force.
They've got the 2-point lead. And they sure do take that timeout. So our target score will be 61, which would be the lowest, second lowest if BBM Tax Service wins. If they have scored all season, they had a game that scored 56. And if Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill is able to win, it'll be by far their lowest scoring total of the year, as their previous low was 79.
And I'm interested to see how this Elam ending goes, Zion, because all game long we've talked about it, the intensity and the level of physicality in this game. I'm interested to see if there's another level that can reach here in this Elam inning. We've seen it throughout the summer, throughout this season. When the time comes to get to the Elam ending, when that target score gets posted, the intensity, the physicality skyrockets in these games. But this game's already been so physical and so aggressive and so intense. So I'm curious to see if we can reach that even other level of physicality.
And I feel like as the leading team, this first possession in these close games of the Elam inning, they come out to be really big because you get 2 or 3 points on the board here, then it really feels like you're putting the other team, you're putting their backs against the wall to really play phenomenal basketball the rest of the way out. So let's see what BBM is able to come out with if they can convert here. Once again, the target score will be 61.
Interesting that Wu Avance still on the floor as well. No Shamar Avance. He's been one of the best offensive players on the floor for either side, really, in the second half.
Harris will lead the offense for BBM. Guarded by Teague. Over to Jaden Ford. He'll try a 3. Short, and Loudon boards it up for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. They can tie or take the lead here. Teague on the drive. Teague on the dish. That ball is swatted by Ford, but back into the hands of Gibson. He can't hit again. And here is Jaden Ford. Over to Tony Perkins. Perkins with the layup. It doesn't fall. Ball is loose. Wu Avance had it for a moment, but then Hart came away with it up ahead to Teague, who finishes right before Jaden Ford could get to the glass. And we're knotted up at 52 all.
And again, there's Tony Perkins back on the other end. He typically hits that layup.
Harris off target on the 3. And Darius Adams pulls it away. Adams in transition. He'll go for the reverse layup. And it just rolls off the back iron. But Darius Adams will head to the charity stripe. He needs a moment to get up.
One of those situations where I doubt he's hurt or anything like that. More so just this has been a physical game, a tiring game. Just take that extra second on the ground, catch your breath a little bit. Both of these two teams have gone at each other all night long.
So Adams now has a chance in this Elam inning period to give Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill the lead. And he will with the first free throw. And now we do see Shamar Avance check back in for Wu Avance.
Beat me right to it. Beat me right to it. And I will add, Darius Adams, he's kind of been the Elam ending king this summer. He seems to find another gear when that target score gets posted. He's had countless takeover moments in these situations.
Perkins over to Harris. Harris at the foul line. They swing it around and get it to Ford. Ford will take the 18-footer. Not there. And Hart rebounds it for Mambos. Adams over to Loudon. He's had the hot hand in the second half. Off the mark on that attempt. Here comes Tony Perkins with the head of steam. Perkins finds glass. And an offensive foul is the call.
I guess what they're calling there is that Perkins kind of swung a little bit of an elbow, but in my opinion, if your hand is on the ball, you've got every right. And it didn't look like an abnormal basketball play. It didn't look like there was an actual elbow swing in there. He had both hands on the basketball, was just keeping it high, and his elbow inadvertently hit someone. I'm not sure if I super agree with that one there, Zion.
Teague has it for Mambos. They have a 2-point lead. And that misses everything, but there's Loudon, right place, right time. Back out to Darius Adams, who's open, and he drills it. 4 points away now for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Here's Harris, defended by Darius Adams. Harris, nice acrobatic finish to bring the margin back to 3. Adams in the front court, isolated with Harris. Adams will try another 3. Can't hit that one, and Harris gets the rebound. Harris now with the ball guarded by Adams. Thought about the shot. Get it over to Jaden Ford. Back to Harris. He has space. Can't tie the game, but Avance puts it back up and in to make it a 1-point game. Darius Adams going at Harris again. Adams kicking it out, finding an open Tyrone Walker. Walker can't hit. Ford gets the rebound for BBM. A bucket would give BBM the lead again. And now Harris trapped in the front court. Foul will be called on Darius Adams. So are they in the bonus yet, or will this just be a side out? I think it'll just be side out.
Just the 5th team foul in this second half. And again, as they inbound over there on the far sideline, Zion, we have to point out BBM Tax Service has to go into the front court here.
So a bit of delay to wipe up the spot where everybody was on the ground for a moment. Meanwhile, that's the 5th foul on Darius Adams. I saw Hart there trying to say that foul was on him because he has less, but it will be Adams' 5th foul. One-point lead for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Here is Harris. Gives it over to Jaden Ford. Ford pump fake the 3 and got it to Shamar Avance. He has 3 to shoot. Avance looking for an outlet to Ford. It's blocked. What a play by Tyrone Walker to swat the mid-range jumper in a good defensive sequence for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill.
Great defense, and that's exactly what this Elam ending kind of comes down to. You got to be able to get stops when that target score gets posted. It's a big one, especially with the lead for Mambos.
They're 4 points away from a victory. Here's Adams going down the lane, and a blocking foul is called on Harris. So Adams will shoot 2 free throws. And again, they'll have to wipe up a spot on the floor.
You can see this interesting conversation in front of us. Marquise Teague and Aaron Harris discussing whether or not that was a charge or not.
We've seen several of those offensive fouls called today, but that not one of them as Adams nails the first.
I think the difference on that one was Harris might have already been slightly leaning back when Adams made contact. And again, we've seen, I think that's 7 straight points for Darius Adams here in this Elam ending for Mambos.
His team is 2 points away from victory. Here comes Harris with the lay-in over Loudon. But now here comes Darius Adams and Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill. Adams in the lane just throws up a wild shot, and Harris comes away with it. A 3 here could win it for BBM Tax Service. Harris pulls it back out. He's trapped. And a nice deflection that time by Tyrone Walker just to reset the defense.
They got to take it, right? You got to go for the 3.
But they've struggled from beyond the arc as well.
Aaron Harris probably has to get this look.
He will for the win. Missed everything.
I don't hate it, though. I don't.
I mean, part of me feels like that ball maybe should have found its way to Shamar Avance, if anybody. But here comes Teague down the other end. Defended by Brandon Muncie. Marquise Teague. He'll sidestep for the win. Good night. Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill advances to 4-0 as Teague is the hero. Needed 2, gave him 3 for the win.
Man, that might be the toughest shot we've seen in the night. Sidestep, contested. Marquise Teague, when it matters most. A big shot right there. 4-0 for Mambos. And we talked about it at the beginning, Zion. it's a loss for BBM Tax Service. They dropped to 1-3. This might be the best 1-3 team that we've ever seen at the City League. Their 3 losses are to the only 3 undefeated teams on the men's side. Their 1 win came against the reigning champion.
They gave the 1 loss that Prudential has to Prudential. So you're right. They played nothing but teams that are undefeated coming into their games. And the 1 game they won is the only game Prudential has lost. But a loss nonetheless for BBM Tax Service as they fought a 1-3 and Mambo Cheesesteak Grill in a very resilient back-and-forth game. Wins it by 4 and heads to 4-0.
Yeah, you kind of see, again, the 1-3 record isn't necessarily indicative, but I do think that it's another notch under the belt for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill, Zion. Andrew and I were talking last week about if they are our best team on the men's side, they might have shown it tonight.
Absolutely. So they get the 4-point victory in this one. 62-58. Leading in scoring was Darius Adams with those 22 points. He also grabbed 9 rebounds. Shamar Avance had 18 points to lead the way for BBM Tax Service, but it's a 4-point win for Mambo's Cheesesteak Grill as they head to 4-0. Join us again tomorrow at 6 for more action here at the City League.